welcome your faces. It's been a while. Where have you been?
Your faces.
It's been forever. Where have you been?
Where have you guys been?
Jeez.
This episode's been out for ever.
7 years?
Yeah.
Specifically?
You guys just couldn't find it.
Yeah. This is the hidden files.
Yeah.
Of two semi-intelligent dudes. Somewhat. Somewhat. Kind of same thing.
Yeah,
well, it's funny.
Semi gives us more intelligence than we actually have.
Than we deserve.
Yeah.
We're going to have an intellectual conversation today. I don't
Ooh.
know if you were ready for this. We just discussed, like, do we have an intro for this?
Yeah.
Or do we just hop right in? And I'm just like, Gavin, like, we're having an intellectual conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just get right into it.
That's the,
None of that jibber jabber about promotion and events.
or croutons.
Dude, let me tell you about croutons.
Do you like croutons?
I hate croutons.
I hate them too.
I leave them, like, if you get a Caesar salad,
Ooh, no.
I don't eat them.
No.
They are left on the plate. It's like people that don't like tomatoes. Like they just like leave, like they take the tomatoes out of the sub and put them on the side.
Tomatoes.
I like tomatoes.
Mm.
We're different breeds.
I can't necessarily eat tomatoes. So
Yeah.
I feel like,
That's fair.
but
That's a different
I wouldn't
thing.
like choose to have a potato or not potato, a tomato on my salad or
Yeah.
sandwich.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like it makes it soggy.
That's true. Like immediately, like if you know you're having leftovers or something, tomato does come off. That is fact.
I feel like you also have to be aware of how quickly you're going to eat
Mm-hmm.
that like sandwich or salad. I feel like it's more sandwiches with tomatoes
Yeah.
because like if you're not eating it in a quick manner, then it's just gonna be absorbed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be like some soggy piece of sandwich bread.
It's the same way with like lettuce on like Subway subs. It's like,
Like the
well,
shredded lettuce.
yeah. For me at least, like I go into my Subway and I'm like, okay, I plan on eating this whole thing right now. And if I
You go
don't,
foot long, 12 inch?
I gotta, well, obviously a foot long.
Wait, 12 inches
Is a foot.
long.
But
See, semi-intellectual conversation.
yeah, this is exactly what we decided we were going to talk about today.
Yeah.
But like day old Subway sandwiches with shredded lettuce,
Yeah.
no. Because I put like oil and mayo on it, so it just becomes a
so like,
sludgy mess,
that makes sense.
and I hate
Like
it.
Mike's way. from
Yeah,
Jersey
yeah,
Mike's?
yeah.
Oh, it's the only way.
Like it just becomes sludgy mess. I love oil, like vinegar, that kind of stuff on
Yeah.
it. But like, especially like house oil, like
Mm.
that's great stuff.
It is. I don't like mayonnaise.
That's fair. I don't like mayonnaise, but like for subs, like I
Yeah.
can take like a light little.
So you don't want it to be like slathered on there.
No.
Okay. So
No.
it's just be like one like.
It's one, like you go into the
Yeah.
thing, one,
And
and
that's
then
it.
like two to clear the knife.
Okay.
Like
I can
none
deal
of
with
that. Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
It's
I'll
not
have
like
that.
I don't want mayo as a prominent feature of my sandwich, but it's like it's the same thing with oil. Like
Yeah.
you don't want it soggy, but you like the like
Bro.
whatever it does to it.
Makes a sandwich a whole new thing,
Dude, it
especially like
does.
sliced onions.
Mm,
Ooh,
mhm.
and it's like soaked in the oil, like the vinaigrette. Ooh.
Oof. The weight of that is just unreal.
The purpose of each element.
If you haven't gathered already, we're going to be talking about weight and purpose today.
Yeah.
If we want to be super formal about it.
Intellectual conversation.
Oh man. But like, so we want to just hop right in of, you know, as YouTubers do, let's just hop right into it.
Hop right into it. Top them more into you.
All those things. But we want to talk about like purpose and like where we've been in the last 3 years, because as of last week, Silo just hit 3 years, which is like insane to think about.
Yeah.
And just
3 years.
through some conversations of like reflecting that we've had is so like eye-opening to like hear our mission and vision stated in like new and refined ways.
Yeah.
Like we've just had conversations recently where we've like hopped around the topic of purpose, didn't put a name to it, and then like afterwards, and now that we're talking about it, is like, yo, we were having conversations about purpose and like what does it mean to be Silo? What does it mean to be leaders of a community, hosts of events?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to unpack there. And that comes down to identity too, of like, what does that mean for the two of us?
Very true.
So like, what are some of the conversations? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like also understanding purpose has a lot of weight to it as well. I think just those kind of questions can really make you like stop in your tracks
Mm-hmm.
and think. And I know that through some of the meetups and things that we've just in general, like conversations, like Instagram DMs of people just being like, hey, this is something that I'm struggling with, or for a while that's defined me, but it doesn't anymore. And where they are at now, it's kind of cool to see from even just an outward perspective, even without those conversations.
Right.
But I think it's also made us reevaluate a lot of our things and like our purpose and the weight that it has with it. Because we're transitioning into different things, and we're in semi like new roles and things that have been not only just with Silo, just with life in general. And it's really important to kind of stop and take time to remember those things, because if you don't, then you're going to get lost. And I think that, like you said earlier, just revolves around self-identity. Like if we can't reflect on what our purpose is and don't truly understand what it is, we won't understand it fully, because a purpose will always constantly be changing. But I think some of the major conversations that we've had with people, especially people close to us, Chloe, like going to Philadelphia, and completely whole new like environment, and being like, I'm just taking this leap and seeing where it's gonna go. Like I don't know what my purpose is in Philly or where I'm gonna be, what am I gonna be doing, but I just know that we're gonna be just creating music and see where it goes.
And that's like just inspiring to the both of us, let alone like, I think that like parallels what we went through, like when we started. And when you asked me to take a leap, it's just like, I don't know what my purpose is in this yet, but like, we're going to try it out and see what happens. And I think, things happen for a reason, and, moving to Philly is probably for a good reason. And us starting stuff is probably for a good reason. So seeing all of those like leaps that we've had to take, and also the realizations too. We've been in talks with like finding out how can we make this our full-time job. Like this isn't stuff we like talk about like outwardly, and we definitely should to inform you guys. But like these are the podcasts where like if you know us, this is the time to, or you don't know us, this is the time to like get to know us more and like personally.
I think the more vulnerable that we can be kind of allows for you and whoever you share these kind of podcast episodes with to understand, like you said, but also to become vulnerable yourselves. Because we want these episodes and our conversations to have a weight to them. And they're a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Like this, we goof off. We talked about sandwiches for like the first 10 minutes.
Even though we just said we're going to be serious too.
Like it's just, it comes up with those questions that we talked about before even just recording. It's like, what is purpose? Why does it matter? And why did you start? Like, why do you like, and the reevaluating through that start. And those questions are, man, I got too excited there. I kicked that table.
He said, how did you start?
How did you start? This is my purpose. I am a table destroyer. Man, maybe we need to reevaluate our seriousness. But what is purpose? What do you think?
I think purpose is just simply like the trajectory. And
that's a good word.
But the thing is that purpose is a long-term thing that you can only see in the short term. So like, if we want to take this super nerdy, which I totally am right now,
100%.
Purpose
Psychology
is
major.
There's not anything to do with psychology major. I want to bring up freaking Minecraft. So in Minecraft,
you're really bringing.
I'm going there. No, I am.
Just a joke.
No, okay. So listen. So listen. Like, I think a majority of you understand what Minecraft is, and maybe this might get a little detailed, but like, think about render distance. Okay, so like the game renders the whole like map out like way in advance, and like it knows that it's already generated all this stuff. And while you can like explore new ways, like it's kind of already been there / is generating. But like the game knows what's out there. That is the long-term purpose. Short-term purpose is how far you can actually see. So like you have a render distance, you set it to like maybe a normal computer is like 16 chunks or something. and past that view, like if you get on top of a mountain, you can only see so far.
Yeah.
And then it gets like gray and stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of like on an old computer, I had like 4 chunk distance, which is terrible to like keep your computer not processing that much. Gotcha. But like I'm thinking of like there is a gray area out there that you can no longer see.
Yeah.
That is still purpose that has been laid out for you.
Yeah.
You cannot see past that. So Chloe moving to Philly as an example is I know I need to go to Philly.
Yeah.
Past that, no clue.
Yeah.
There's something already laid out. It's there. It's ready for you.
Yeah.
And maybe you can choose a different pathway any way around you. But it's already there. It's waiting for you.
Yeah.
And so if we want to use that nerdy example of it, it's a short and long term. It's a far distance and short distance kind of trajectory that you have to know.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we can lose even our own purpose by trying to predict or figure out what that gray area is. I mean, I am not an avid Minecraft player, so I don't necessarily can communicate in that realm, but I can, to a degree, understand that like when you, in that player, as a person, like approaching life and working through things, if you are busy and caught up trying to figure out what is in that gray area and trying to define what that gray area is, then you're losing out on the purpose that you have in that moment.
Yeah.
And why you're there for that reason. Because I think, and then I think even that plan that's in front of you that you're still going to end up going through, you're not as prepared for it. It's still going to happen. And there'll be different pathways that you'll get to that moment. That you'll feel less prepared walking into it. And it's not because it is something that you weren't ready for. It's just something that you are like, oh man, I really should have taken that time through that when I knew that short purpose and engaged with that fully, rather than kind of just skipping ahead and trying to see that future. Because I know as a Minecraft player, if you're too busy looking up and you forget to look down, you might fall into something.
Boom.
You might get attacked by a spider or
Facts.
one of those creeper dudes. Like if it's night and that's another thing, like nighttime, like if you're not walking around with a torch, man,
True.
you're gonna get burned.
Yeah.
And like that's just like with life. If you're not walking into things with an understanding of like, okay, I'm taking this step, but you're taking this step without anything. I think that's another conversation. I'm not saying don't take any leaps, and I'm not saying get consumed with the preparation, but
it's like enjoying the moments that you have now, whatever that's called. Like it's about the journey, not the destination. Like you can predict the destination all you want, but if you're not like living in the now, living in the journey, you're not going to have as much fun when you get there, or you are less prepared and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think that is another conversation of just like your purpose is definitely like going to be blurry out there, but like also take the time to think and reminisce and understand what you're going through now and what that might mean for you later. Yeah. So like, let's apply this to like us. So we know that, so like, let's maybe list out like, what do we know now? Like, what are we now? And where can we see ourselves then? Yeah. And like, what is that purpose? And like, what are we doing now to address the purpose that we think we have for the future? Yeah. I think like now we have these conversations and we're like, hey, we want to create art, you know, this is art. Whatever we do is art. This podcast is art. Yep. Like it's a thing that we're doing to better ourselves, to hone our crafts. Like this isn't just something that you can talk into your smartphone, like voice recording and do. You can do that to start podcasts, but like that's the progression that we're at, and we're at this stage of this. Yeah.
Full on produced by good old Austin.
Dude. And we have an amazing like just whole scripting process and stuff that goes into that. But like, so we know that we want to make art.
Yeah.
We know that we want to have intentional conversations. We know that we want to educate where we feel we can, and we want to like inspire. And those are like our kind of pillars of who we are. But like we're trying to touch on those topics as much as possible in everything that we do. And the like intentionality of doing that is super important to us, just through the relationships that we build. Yeah.
I think it makes us also reevaluate, I think, a lot of what we're moving towards. Because I think with any journey that you go through as a creative, as a human being, and just with anything, I mean, work environment, maturity, I mean, puberty, it's a process that you have to, it's almost quite comforting to look back and reflect. And if you lose out on those moments and don't take the time to like truly reflect on kind of where you've come from, where you're at now, and where you want to be, then I feel like you just lose out on the fun of it. Like you lose a little bit of those happy moments. Like even if it's something that you're like, oh yeah, Gavin, that makes sense. Like especially with really good moments. But I'm also talking about the ones that are not so good. If you can't reevaluate on moments that are hurtful or sad and things, then how can you understand moving forward how that you cope with them,
right?
Or how you can improve in the situation? Because reevaluating is probably one of the most key processes that you can ever go through as a human being, as creative in general.
Agreed.
Because you have a purpose, great, that's amazing, and I think we will constantly always be redefining that. But you can never redefine your purpose, nor can you ever, I feel like, even truly achieve your purpose if you don't reevaluate.
Yeah, if you're just like blindly following something in the distance, and you don't say, okay, I see this like light out this way, but there's actually one that way that is way more important and actually brighter for me right now. Like if you're just going to blindly follow something that was bright from one time, one perspective, like, and just blindly follow that without acknowledging or understanding the next one. Like you're not gonna, there's a stagnation with one direction.
Because I think something that we heard, I think was it a week ago, because it's Monday that you're gonna be hearing this now. So a week ago for you, but it was like 2 days for us. Just listening and hearing that, like, I think we engage through processes of trying to unclog certain things. If that's just working through our purpose and what that may be, or figuring out our process and what that looks like. But you have to also look within your heart and see what's clogging up your heart or what's confusing your heart. Because I think if you're trying to follow that purpose and reevaluate and think through things, like if things are clogging you up and you're not taking that time to actually like unclog and move forward, then the purpose, it's still there. I think regardless of where you're at, it's still there. It may have changed, like things may have worked within it, but the root of it, it's still there. It's just you're giving yourself, I think, a little bit more of a harder time than you should. Reevaluation and unclogging and all of those things are necessary. I mean, our bodies go through puberty for a reason. Like, that's like the best. I mean, in my mind, like, it's funny that you want Minecraft and I want puberty. I just think it's funny.
We're still 13-year-olds, no matter where we are.
I think doesn't like the male's brain, it doesn't take, it takes like till like 26 till it's like fully mature.
Yeah, so we're not there yet.
Isn't that crazy?
We're 13-year-olds, so we got 13 more years.
I mean, tell me about it. Some days I'm like, Remember when I had Dino Nuggets?
I still have Dino Nuggets. Yeah, exactly.
Bro.
You can never be too old for Dino Nuggets.
No. Nor can you ever be too old to reevaluate.
Facts. This man speaking facts. Ready? In 2 microphones. Speak another fact.
Fact.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. We got some facts coming out of Gavin's mouth.
Facts.
Oh. But like another thing too, if we're going still further down this rabbit hole, is like you have to remember why you started.
Tunnel.
Seriously, like a real tunnel. We're like paving it with a big drill.
Yes.
Hopefully. And talking about things that people don't talk. It is green.
Sick.
We're paving like a path, hopefully that people don't want to talk about this kind of stuff. And so we're like making this big open tunnel so that the conversation can continue to flow in this community, like through that, so that we're making it less resistance for the people that come next. But like, remember why you started. So like Helen has this on her wall, Older and Wiser. And it just keeps sticking with me. And I think it's just like such a key phrase too, especially in the whole, hey, like reevaluate, like remember why you started, like remember why Silo started is about community and about giving people this, like the freedom and openness space to make that happen.
Yeah.
I think like it's so important to like, as we're trying to make this our full-time job, and then the next step in that is, okay, so how can we like make enough money to make this happen, or find the resources that we need to make a full-time a reality. And there's like those very like businessy things that you have to take into consideration. But we also have to remember like, we built trust with this community. We can't just say, can you give us $50 for a subpar podcast, like behind a paywall or something?
Yeah.
Like that's not something that we can even like consider and would ever consider.
Yeah.
I think there's just something about remember why you started that you have to keep that in your brain, because that is most likely the driving force.
Yeah. And remember where you come from. Remember where you want to be.
Yeah.
It's an important thing to reconsider and to understand, but to move forward on. And I think where Silo is hopefully going towards the direction that we've been talking about even before recording this podcast is we want to maintain the community aspects of things. We also want to start adding our own artistic flares to stuff and bringing out that in just everything that we do. Because at the cause, I feel like the podcast is kind of like this like foundation of kind of what we're entering into, hopefully with this next season and where we're going. But we want to be, I mean, we have inspirations like from Half Alive and just like just people that just like, I am solely just creating to create. I mean, it's really like beautifully well put, but it's also like there's moments in some of the things that we've seen that are like ragged and like just cut really almost just really a bare bones and raw. And I think that's important. I think as we're moving forward and anybody moves forward, when your purpose is gonna stay solid as much as you can, but the things that kind of come alongside of it are gonna add to it and almost adds a weight to it.
Yeah. I think that's just like when we talk about weight and you brought it up like out of the blue today. I think that like hits such like, or at least out of the blue for me. But like,
no, I'm just saying it was out of the blue for the both of us. I think that was why I was laughing.
Yeah, but like you brought that up, and it's just like that describes perfectly like the season that we are in of like, whoa, slowing down a little bit, breathing, and be like, that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, like this year is believe. But like, if we're already thinking about next year's word, like weight, like the weight of your creation is like so important. Yeah. Like you have to, you want to connect with those deep emotions that you've been a part of. And that's your identity too of like, listen, like I'm allowed to be sad. And when I am sad, I'm able to connect with other people that are sad. Yeah. Or, I was thinking the other day, like I was doing like a late night editing session and I was listening to like some of my favorite music, and I have a standing desk now, and I put it on like MKG. Yeah. No, it was Bad Sons. Wow. So and so I put my desk in standing desk. I had my AirPods in, and this is like 11 o'clock at night. And I was just like, I felt so inspired, like so in the, like in my feels, but like in a good way of like, I'm connecting with my purpose at this time. And so I was up here, I was like kind of jamming out, like doing some like silo work late at night. And like, I think having those like heavy moments of emotion, especially as a guy, I feel like, you know, you suppress them, but like having that time, like that's something I strive for. Like I want to have every day if I can. I don't think it always happens, but like those powerful, heavy moments, I think I get that a lot from, again, Half Alive, like all of their videos and music. For us, like, I think we've talked about this before, but like the Hot Team music video, like that's our like, I love that. I showed that to Gavin. It's just like,
bro, he changed my life.
It's just kind of been like a mantra, I feel like heaviness.
Or Dijon's.
Yes, anything Dijon.
Bro, that have you watched the 25-minute film
I've
on
not.
the album?
I've not.
I
know you showed me.
He had like the music video like for each of the songs.
Yeah.
But they put together, like they compiled the entire album into a 25-minute film. And so it puts like it connects each of the YouTube like music videos for the ones that he put out, but then it also adds in like things that he did. Like he blew out his voice on purpose so that you could experience like when he first wrote it, like this was the rawness of his voice. Or like they all were drunk and singing and jamming out at 3 a.m. in the morning. That's when they recorded it and made the album.
Right.
Like it becomes more of, I think you can tell the difference with anything if there's weight or if there's purpose, and where those things kind of come in together. But then also those that are just doing it to do it, and you can feel it. I know we were talking about before of just. There are certain things that you watch or you listen to, and they give you just feel like this weight, regardless of what emotion it may bring. I think a lot of times I associate weight with comfort, just because things that in my life, just with medical and just with just life experiences, the more weight that I had on me, like physical like weight on me, it provided comfort. And so I strive to find those things in like music or in clothing. Like I prefer a heavier clothing because it provides that weight. And I think when you approach it with any artistic vision in mind, you got to really think through like what weight does this bring into somebody's life? I know what it reflects.
Okay. Do you have a launching point?
Launching point? Yeah.
Okay.
It's really truly just remembering that weight of like where you put yourself and where your art is put out into the world.
Yeah.
Like approaching it in the light of, regardless of where you're going and what you're putting out, there's a weight. I mean, even if it's just something personal that you're doing, and it's just for your eyes only, there's still a weight to it.
Yeah.
And I think approaching it in that manner, it almost redefines the purpose. It gives you almost an encouragement as you are doing the thing that you want to do, because then you acknowledge the fact that there's a weight to what I'm doing right now. In any conversation that you have, there's an intentionality to it. Like there's a weight to it. And I think even if you think about it and I almost assume it with like, if somebody has like a backpack on their back and somebody is putting in just weight and weight and weight and weight and weight, we automatically, I think, assume that it's like a negative weight, that it's something that is weighing the person down to the extent where they can't continue to operate in the manner that they were. I think we neglect the fact that sometimes the weight that we can put in the bag can also make the person stronger and help them to go further.
Yeah. There's like an endurance to it. I agree.
And if we're not strategically thinking through those things and understanding, like, yes, there's negative weights, there's positive weight, but there's a weight that we really need to hone in on, and it's the weight that makes us grow. And if we're allowing for other people to put weight into our backpacks that we can't handle, and we're not taking it out, but we're also not putting in weight that will counterbalance it, or we're not actually like moving forward in our creative mind or just in life in general, in the mindset, like the stuff that I have on my back right now is a lot, but I'm going to keep on going forward because I know it's moving me, it's shaping me, it's forming me for what's to come in the future. and it's going to allow for me to go further. Like when we first started podcasts, like we did like batch recordings.
Yeah.
And we're like, hoo, hoo, hoo. After a while, we're like, this is a lot. But it gave us an endurance to now, I think, do an hour-long recording.
Right.
Because when we did 3 or 4 15-minute, literally we were doing an hour just talking about different topics. But we shaped and reevaluated and worked through what it would look like if we just did an hour. And now we're able to work and sit here for an hour and talk about
don't know how we do it.
Stuff to like super intellectual things. And we weren't able to do that without understanding that the weight that was on us was shaping us. It was helping form the endurance.
Right. And I think there's a lot of endurance things that we can attribute to part of Silo and just like, you just got to keep at it.
Yeah.
Like if we're going like a completely different route than the weight is like consistency of that will actually lessen the weight of what you're doing in a good way and like, and lessen like decrease the burden of said project by doing this for 3 seasons now, and this being the bookend of season 3. Season 3? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I don't even know. We've done so many. That's the thing. But like without that endurance and, you know, maybe every episode is one less brick of like, oh, this is so long to produce or so long to set up or so long to prepare for. It's one brick every time because it's like, okay, we've gotten this down. Okay, we've gotten this down. And that allows for other things to come in then, which is the coolest part about all of that is that as you're creating, the more repetitions you do, the heavier your bag is in terms of positive weight and the less heavy your bag is in terms of negative weight because you're continuing to take one out and allowing other weights that involve making other meaningful art forms. I think it's just at the end of the day, like something for me that's stuck out in that time of reflection is like, I just want to make cool stuff. I just want to make meaningful stuff. I just want to make stuff that means something to me. And from there, that is the most raw form of art that I can produce. And therefore, hopefully it inspires other people that are similar to me because we can't reach everyone.
Exactly. And I think also on top of that, learning when you're walking into a situation, I mean, we're speaking in somewhat vague terms with these things because we also don't truly know what you're also dealing with. You might be experiencing a lot of negative weight that's truly weighing you down, and you're like, well, that's great, but I don't think this is molding any endurance. I think this is just weighing me down. I think we can talk about that and what that looks like, but I think it's also learning, okay, when are you going to start building up your strength of saying no to things or asking for help or seeking out opportunities that can find you relief. Because I think there's 2 sides to the coin. And it's a lot of times we talk about like, I think the world references to like, black and white. But we want to try to talk about the gray area, the gray space in between. That you're going to experience both good and bad, regardless of what you're going through. Not everyone's going to always experience 100% positive things. Nobody's ever going to experience 100% negative things. There's going to be moments in our lives that we experience both sides of those things. But the only thing that ever stays constant in a coin is the middle. And so when you're going through life and your things are shaping, and like if you think about the coin reference, like one side might become more rustier than another and other sides will become cleaner. It's just through that process of like, okay, this is a positive way, this is a negative way, this is forming my endurance. How can I approach things further and take the next step and understand that wherever I'm going next, this weight that I've had on, like you said, you're taking bricks off, you're realizing, like I just worked 40 hours and this is what my 40 hours looked like. My next week, I can do this in less time and still work 40 hours, but it looked a lot differently.
Right.
And so it's trying to navigate what that looks like for you. And if there's things that you're dealing with and going through that are very negative, I know Austin and I were just 220 somethings trying to figure out life as well. But we're more than welcome. Love to talk about it and work through it, or seek out hopefully opportunities that could help you. But also want to celebrate the victories and the weights that have shaped your endurance for even the better. I mean, it's just, I think what you were talking about earlier before this podcast, where we started recording it, is, oh man, I just lost my train of thought. It's just like the weight of things. I think we automatically assume that it's a sadness, but like a lot of times it can be comforting. And even some of the biggest moments that we've gone through, even the saddest moments that we've gone through, actually were the most revealing.
Right.
So
right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I think to sum everything that we've just said is just like, we want you to succeed. And there's a lot to unpack with that whole conversation too. But like, at the end of the day, we are here as someone that is parallel to you, not above you, not below you. We are people that are experiencing the same thing. And the coolest thing is that we can go back and look at our podcasts from when we first started and say, man, we've grown a lot since then in any aspect. But like being able to say like, oh, Austin, your view of burnout has completely changed in 2 months or 2 years. Like we want to be able to see that in you too. So like you just putting out your work is enough. And we're just going to keep saying that. You're putting your work out. That is a huge thing, because in 2 years, hopefully you see that you've changed and reflected on those things that you've put out. Maybe even those things that were just for your eyes only, that were passion projects. Like we want to see you succeed, and we want to give you the resources possible to do that. And we might not have all the right answers. And those perspectives might change between today and tomorrow. But if we have any, insight into what you're going through and through conversation, we want to be able to offer that to you. I think that comes with like our intentional conversations that we have at like Coffee with Creatives and things like that. CWC. That's just like, you don't get that when you're just having two guys talk at you. And so we want to hear from you in those moments. And, it's just one of those things, like we want a heartbeat on the community at all times. So those are the moments where we can like sit down and be like, okay, you're hurting. You're hurting right now. Oh no, you're doing awesome. Like, what can we learn from you succeeding right now? Like, okay, so you marketed it correctly here. Okay, take this information, write it down, give it to the person who's struggling next to you, and boom, you've just helped another person greatly achieve.
You might have, we continue with like that weight analogy. You might have helped relieve some of the weight. I think something that we've always talked about, and our hopeful goal with Silo has always been, as a community, we're supposed to grow and continue to grow together. And like you said, and it's not always about the follower count. It's not about the amount of money that you make, and that person makes more money than I do, or this person did this and things like that. If we approach it in the realm of, okay, we're all carrying this baggage, this backpack full of weight. If the things that we struggled with, it can help relieve somebody else's weight, imagine what it could do, like chain effect. I mean, what it could do for the community as a whole. Because if you don't put yourself in that space to give, and ultimately, I mean, at the core, if you're not feeding yourself and allowing for yourself to be quenched, you're not able to help others. But if you are constantly like, okay, I'm doing really, really well, and you're not giving an opportunity to help somebody else relieve that weight, then I think there's always times and places with things. But I think there's something to be said about the importance of understanding the weight that you have, but also being aware of the weight that other people around you have and are going through. And that's our hope. Like, Silo has always just been a neutral space for creatives of all types to be able to feel like they have a space that they feel welcome, that they can grow. But our hope is that you don't feel like you have to, as much as we would love for you to stay, we don't want you to feel like, oh, like they're doing all these things. Like, I don't want to do this because it'll be like, oh, this. Like, no, like, go. Like, I think we hit that moment where, like, Chloe, again, we're talking about Chloe, but like Chloe and Jackson have been huge proponents of our mission from the start. And like now they're going off and doing amazing things in Philly. And we won't see them as much. And we'll still have moments where we'll talk to them and things. I mean, Chloe's writing the blog and stuff, but still, it's like it's one of those moments where I feel like happy parents, like, like
sending them out.
Like, they're doing it. Like, we had an inkling of moment in their lives where the weight was equally shared. That we had moments where we're like, oh, this is a lot of fun, but then there was also moments where it was like, oh, this sucks. But now that they're continuing on and moving and going into new space, like that weight becomes lighter. The weight becomes around us. We're like, oh, that was like super dope.
Yeah,
that just happened.
Yeah.
It becomes really cool. It becomes really cool.
Yeah, I think just to wrap up here is just when you understand what purpose is and you understand how to measure success and you understand how much weight and influence and how you are influenced yourself, like that you can have on people and people have on you, that together mixed up in a big pot, forms a very powerful thing of like understanding, like metacognition, which is thinking about thinking. If psych major, here it is. Nothing about mind. You said
it's being applied.
Yeah, exactly.
Own it.
Well, the thing is that you said, oh, psych major, what's he going to come up with? I said Minecraft. And now I come over here and I say metacognition. And then it all pays off. It's a full circle thing. But you stir that all up and you have metacognition of you are thinking about what it means to be a human, to be creating things. And that's not a skill that everyone has. So either, us enlightening you on it today or you being aware of that and now applying it at a better point, that'll make you a better artist. That'll make you a better creative. I can say that with certainty. We don't have a lot of certainty on this show,
hot takes out again.
But there is something about being able to analyze your own work with a critical eye that allows you to progress at a faster rate than you blindly following the star over here when the star you need to be following is this way.
Mic drop right there.
So to sum that up is just be aware of yourself. Remember why you started and all that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
Nah, man, you just dropped.
I'm just here summing things up.
It's like psych major level intellectual conversation.
That is what we were out for today.
Yeah.
We were out for some big word conversations,
Big word combos.
my combo of words that's happening is at like a 27 times multiplier right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and watch this. I'll ruin the multiplier. It's like the Guitar Hero. You know what I'm saying? Where you like get like so many notes in a row. I'm at like a 57 combo.
They like change like the color.
Yeah. I'm at like a freaking like bright white, like just like
snap.
I've gone transition through all the colors. I'm like straight up like boom, like the hottest hot, the star that is white right now.
Own that.
I'm the blazing sun in the sky. I am Mega Mind. There I am. And now I gotta come down.
Right.
I gotta say something humbling to me right now.
I'm enjoying the fact that you gone down that route. So like I can't. Like,
no, humble me right now.
I don't want to humble you.
No. This is the best part. I love making you do random things.
Making me do random.
Yeah,
things.
like bragging about yourself. Now you gotta humble me right now.
This is like a weird thing because I've always wanted you to talk about yourself in that light, and now you're telling me to humble you.
No, I'm Mega Mind. You gotta take me down from this right now.
Mega Mind.
I'm the blue guy with the cape.
Bro, you're not blue.
That was pretty humbling. Dang. Yeah. I really thought I was blue.
No, you're not blue.
Gavin, sign us out. I didn't prepare him for this either.
But this is the last episode of our season for this season. We're going to be taking a little bit of a break, kind of reminiscing, reevaluating ourselves, and then coming out hopefully with a new season and some awesome creative things, hopefully on the horizon that we're excited about. But we honestly, I think Austin and I are at the point where we just really just want to be in the community and creating.
Yeah.
And so whatever that may be, things might look different in the future, but we don't know. I mean, we're signing off with the hopes that whatever's to come is going to be sick and
They will be.
And
They will be.
creative,
It will be.
and maybe Austin will become blue and become Megamind. Who knows?
It's my Halloween costume.
Yeah, dude, that would be sick. Like, what would Katie be then?
I haven't watched the movie in a long time to figure out, like, does he have a sidekick little puppy or something? No. What is
She could be the fish that runs around in the metal
okay.
suit. That's
Boom.
the sidekick.
There it is. Katie's a fish.
Because Jess, because I have this weird obsession with Ratatouille as of late. It's one of my favorite movies. I love
So
it.
is she the rat that pulls your hair because you have the red
she would
hair?
Be on top. And then, like, grabbing she'd be like the chef's hat. Like,
Yeah.
You'd be Megamind and Katie would be the fish, and I would be Ratatouille with Jess.
What I got from this conversation about intellectual conversations
Way to
is that we
yank
we really figured out what our Halloween costumes are.
Yes.
And on that note, have a good time wherever you are. Hope you had a good morning, evening, afternoon, drive, walk, run,
Good food.
sitting,
Good meal.
and we will see you back here
Enjoy that.
whenever we
Tomato
do.
and mayonnaise.
Peace.
Peace.